Hey cats, EDDBUD here, and it's time for another episode of Running Shoe, yay or nay. Thanks for tuning in guys, very much appreciated. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when I roll out those new videos for you. It also really helps the channel out too if you give this video a thumbs up like. Dankeschön. Yay or nay is a series that I must explain because some people don't quite get it. Today I'm going to look at 4 shoes and tell you whether I'm going to review them or not and give you my reasons behind that. I'm not saying the shoes are great or they're terrible, can't do that until I've got them on foot, but I will give you my reasons as to why I will be picking them up for review or leaving them on the shelf. There might be some other people out there that will do them more justice than me, so that's how it works. Let's do it. So, some fresh new colourways of the Vaporfly Next 2 are set to drop. They're from the Undercover brand. Jun Takahashi's GYAKUSOU brand. You've all seen them before, you know I love those GYAKUSOU 4% Flyknits. That is it's the best looking shoe of all time. There we go, I said it. They're dropping 3 different colourways of the Next 2. But it's not just a colourway switch up, there's quite a few differences here between the standard model and these. Thicker rope-like laces, and mesh that's more reminiscent of the original version of the Next rather than the current one. But you've still got that toe box reinforcement that we all love. You know what I'm talking about, this piece here. The piece that makes the blue and red ones look like a face. In some ways this is more a middle of the road between the version 1 and the version 2. You could call it the Next 1.5. You will notice lace loops rather than standard eyelets on this version. There's a green and brown forest style adventure, a predominantly red flavour in this second pair, and a black and blue effort too. I think the green one speaks to me the most. Can you hear it? I can. Very interesting they've switched up the lacing system here. I wonder if it will have a positive effect on the lockdown of the shoe. We see the typical inside-out approach that the GYAKUSOU series has had in the past. We got the heel counter on the outside of the shoe, exactly as they did in the 4% Flyknit. I don't think I love these colourways perhaps as much as I do that shoe. That is a standout one for me. Enough changes here to warrant me getting a second pair of the Next 2? Maybe. But at 269 Earth credits, it's a nay for me. I think if I liked one of the colourways a bit more, maybe the forest one's my favourite, I might go for it, but not at that price. That's just wild. It's a wild price. Shoe 2 is a rather interesting one from Adidas. The Adizero Pro version 1 DNA. This is a mix of the old Adizero shoe in terms of the upper and last year's midsole and outsole from the Adizero Pro. It's a bit of a strange one. To release this just around the time you've released all the new shoes for 2021 seems a bit of a weird choice. That boost and light strike technology is great, I've really enjoyed that shoe, but I don't know if many people will pick it up now, especially at 160 Earth credits. What is going on today? The yay or nay is just wild today with the prices. It's a bit nuts. You've got the Adios 6 or even the Boston 10 at a reasonable price, and then they've got these wild and wacky ones at 160. Certainly an old school upper here, vastly different to the current Adizero line. Harks back to those original Adizero shoes when they first launched that line. You get the feeling these might have been manufactured way back in 2020 at some point. Perhaps for the Berlin Marathon there, but they didn't get to launch them. Perhaps they've been sat in a factory or warehouse somewhere. Some went, oh, hang on a minute, you know, we better release those. People might not want them soon. No mesh here then. That upper on the Adizero Pro was actually very good. I'm a bit sad to see it go. More of a textile upper here. Perhaps they've been raiding Mrs. Muggins' fabric store. I don't see these flying off the shelves anytime soon at that 160 Earth credit price. That side is a prime green shoe, so if you're environmentally inclined, which you all should be, then maybe that might push you over the edge. There's no virgin polyester here, guys, and 50% of the upper is recycled material. It's a nay for me though. Too rich in the Earth credits for me. I'll tell you what people, it's like a sauna in here today. I hope it's a bit cooler on the 10K on Sunday. Oh man. We need some aircon in here, beast. Get the aircon on. Shoe 3 is the New Balance Fuel Cell Prism 2. So I think this one's going to release relatively soon in the UK for about 87 Earth credits, but I think it's already available in the US for around about 120. The Prism isn't a shoe that I've tried out before. I think there's a few stability nods in the original and that kind of put me off. There was a load of other shoes I had that were just too similar. I think it falls around the more daily use category, around about a 6mm drop, less of a racer upper than the Rebel had, or even the TC or anything like that. Just a more daily trainer. Not sure why I kind of missed it. I just kind of bypassed it. I think a lot of other people have reviewed it. I just thought I'd be banging the same old drum. And you know, I like to bang a slightly different shaped drum that makes stoke noises. I would expect a midsole here that's more similar to the fuel cell in the Rebel 2, but with more support from that medial post there. There's a much more considerable midsole wall on this one, on the inner side. It could help those perhaps who have a few pronation issues, so it really could be ideal in terms of a lightweight shoe, which is also light in the damage to the pocketbook. Very similar outsole setup here to the RC Elite version 2 that I reviewed the other week. That one's a good dry weather operator for me, less so in the wet. But you already know that, so I won't keep harping on about it. Not sure that I need the support elements that are featured in this shoe, so it's going to be a nay for me today. I think some other people will be able to give you a better shout on this one. I've still got that very versatile Rebel 2 that I've got to grind down a little bit more. Covers just about every base, that shoe. You can run ridiculously fast in it if you want to, but it also soaks up the slower miles as well, especially if you've got to run around with a Microsoft Surface and a load of clothes in your backpack. Ideal. So sorry Prism 2, it's a nay from me. Not sure why I'm saying sorry to the shoe. I kind of feel like they're my friends. You know, I don't want to let them down. I don't want to feel like they're unwanted here. You catch my drift, right? I'm not crazy. The last shoe on today's Yay or Nay is the Puma Magnify Nitro. This one comes with its own free magnifying glass as part of the 110 Earth credit price. That's not true. This is another take on the Puma Nitro foam, this time combining it with some EVA on the bottom. So from closer inspection, it does appear that Puma have layered the two foams together in a Pegasus Turbo-like design. Soft on the top, more firm and responsive below, a little bit like a thin crust pizza. There's a new heel counter setup here too, which seems more substantial than those on the current line of Puma shoes. That has been a contentious issue for some runners, caused a few rubbing problems on the back of the Achilles there, which is never something that you want, especially on a Friday afternoon. Perhaps this is a shoe somewhere between the Liberate Nitro and the Velocity Nitro. You know, in the Velocity they had a little wedge of EVA back there. This one seems to have expanded that out. It definitely looks like it could be a Pegasus Turbo type vibe, or maybe it's just me wanting it to be like that and it'll be completely different. Outsole's kind of like split down the middle there. They've got two rubber sections either side. Quite an interesting setup. Looks like the Pegasus 38 outsole. They've kind of chopped it right down the middle, but for only half of it on the Pegasus 38. I'm a big yay on this one. This one looks really, really interesting. As do all the Puma shoes at the moment. They're quite intriguing, aren't they? Lots of interesting options, and we all love their lightweight price and lightweight feel. That's all 4 shoes on the Yay or Nay today, guys. Let me know if it's a rate or a hate down in the comments. Musical interlude. I'm going to keep it as musical interlude now as well, because I've done hundreds of them and it just wouldn't feel right if I changed it now. Today we have Scott 2. So I did feature Scott Walker's first album on yesterday's musical interlude. Today we have Scott 2. It kicks off in outstanding fashion with the intro track, Jackie. I love this album because there's lots of tracks on it that sound really beautiful and nice, and then they sort of descend into this quite scary territory. The track Next, for example, it's terrifying, really. I love Plastic Palace, people. It's wonderful. It's got all these different parts to it, that song. You really have to listen to it. It's like a little story. It feels like a Disney film, but where the tapes got all mangled and it doesn't quite play properly and it's all over the place, yeah. But the last track on the album brings us back to a more reasonable, pleasant sort of place. Come next spring is looking forward to the future and how everything's going to be cool then. It's going to be alright. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to make it through. Beautiful production again on this one. Very interesting arrangements as well of all the different instruments. And of course you've got the beautiful baritone of Walker. What more can a man, a woman or a beast want? Go and check that one out, guys. Scott 2 by Scott Walker. Thank you very much for tuning in for today's Yale Nay. I hope it was entertaining for you. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when we launch those new videos for you. And it really helps the channel out if you give this video a thumbs up like and also share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you